Good evening, everybody. Hopefully, you guys are having a good trading week. I know this week has been all sorts, all such a strange. We got first 2 day of the week we were going up today, and yesterday we seem to be starting to go down again. But I hope you guys are all staying safe, regardless of what direction we are going. The market is always something that's interesting. Always makes us stay on our toes. Let's give a few minutes to see how many people join us tonight. Feel free to leave a comment. You're hoping SPY gaps down tomorrow. I'm thinking you have puts. Yeah, I'm unsure what exactly what happened, but um, that's why I host these sessions so that we can take a look to see and have a plan for whatever way the market chooses to go. I know I'm more long term in nature, but still, it's always good to see what the market does and have a plan for it. Oh, you got bull trap today. Oh, dang, that sucks. But hey, taking losses is a part of the market, a part of trading. But hey, bounce back and just see if you can make a good trade tomorrow. Um, tomorrow is still tomorrow could be some we could see some good movement tomorrow. I know we haven't been seeing too much action since Tuesday. The market's just been a few dollars up, few dollars down. Um, I hate it when this sort of things happens in the market. Right. So, all right, let's hop right into it. So I haven't been looking at the market as of today, yesterday, but so let's take a look at SPY to see what has happened first. But before we take a look at the chart, let's look at the heat map. Right. The heat map gives us a sense of what is happening in the market. So completely different from Tuesday. You can see that today, uh, the general sense is it all across the board. It's kind of there really isn't any true direction. Usually we see a lot of red, but I see from what I'm seeing, there's equal amount of green, equal amount of red. There's a lot of things that pretty much stay flat. Like Apple, Google, Microsoft. They're a little bit red, but for the most part, they're flat. You see some green here, some red here. Right. Tesla was red today. Tesla, big, huge red. So whoever's trading Tesla. All right, so let's take a look at the SPY chart. So as I was saying on Tuesday, I think that it could be range bound. It couldn't approach its all-time high. And so we drew these range right here. Now my question is, I'm not sure what exactly is gonna happen. If it's gonna bounce between this 470 and 460 range, or 470 and 455 range. So the heat map will give you a clue of what SPY is doing. The heat map, it just gives you a clue of what has happened throughout the day, right? So for that day. So if I go back to the heat map, right? This just shows us in that journal and to what has happened in SPY that day, right? The more red it is, you see that SPY has been going down or has been losing more grounds than it has. And when it's more green, when all of this is green, means like the SPY has been going up in general, right? But today it's kind of, I would say it's kind of flat because you see a lot of these gray, not gray, but dark boxes here, which it sort of signals the flatness, and then you have almost equal amount of reds and greens, right? A lot of reds and greens here, so everything seems to be, uh, l- equal out. And it's not this heat map isn't just for SPY. Right now I have it set for to SPY, but you can also have it set to the Russell's 2000, which Russell's 2000 was definitely red today, or the Nasdaq 100, or even the Dow Jones, right? And the only difference in between the Dow Jones, Nasdaq, Russell's, and SPY or S&P 500 is that the different number of stocks that they hold and what they represent, right? Dow Jones, you could see a lot less stocks, and I think it's only like 50 or something stocks. The Nasdaq has 100 stocks. Russell's 2000 has 2000 stocks that it tracks, and then the S&P 500 SPY tracks 500 stocks. And most people pay attention to SPY, right? So that's why I look at it. So SPY today, looks like it had topped out. So a double, I would even say almost like a double top here. Or if you count this right here, then it's a triple top, right? So one, two, three here. So it could continue downward tomorrow. Now looking at the hourly, you can see that even clearer, right? The hourly is just a zooming in on what has been happening on a number throughout the number of days. So you see that triple top clearly, right? Here, here, and here, right? So as I was saying, we're looking to see where this range bound action is gonna occur. So if it's gonna be, price is gonna behave between this resistance, this support, or this resistance and this support. It could be at the moment, it could be this one, but I think it might be this one right here, the lower one. But we have to see. And when we see price in this sort of range bound behavior, we're going to see the moving averages crossing above and below one another. It's going to do this sort of pattern over and over. All right, we're going to see the 50 cross below, the 200, and the 50 crosses above. If you're a day trader, you might want to stick with the 9 and the 12. Those allow you to act a little faster, but don't take my word for it because I'm not a day trader. I don't try to day trade, or when I do, I don't do too well in them, and my results is all over the board. So, really, it's up to you. You can experiment. Um, there is no best technical analysis thing for anything. You just want to go with what you have an understanding for. I know some people they use the 9 and the 12. They use that with I think called VWAP. So use that, research that and see how that works for you. But a lot of people on the Discord they are day traders. So if you don't know, the Discord that we usually have throughout the day is called this right here, the 0 day YOLO. Don't mind the name. To I'll share the link to the Discord. And yes, it's free. We share a lot of resources. We share trades with one another, but it's still up to you to decide how you want to, if you want to follow, and also if and when you want to um, do anything. But continue, definitely join the group, talk to everybody, and definitely they are a lot better at it. I'll also post a link inside in the description for uh, the session, so you can anyone who wants to join, feel free. We have a bot in there that also scans for market action, but that's live. So you have to come when the market is open for you to hear that stuff, and it just tracks flows of the market, whatnot. But yeah, learn from those guys. I do a little bit of day trading, but I'm not too successful. I wouldn't say I'm good at it. So, all right, so that's SPY. I think it's gonna be tomorrow. We'll see if it tests 460 again. It might be a slow grind down. I don't think we're gonna see any huge movement tomorrow. If anything, I think we might. just maybe go to like maybe just go to 465. I don't know if we'll go to 460. Well, 465 and in that range. So close to here, right? So around here, this area. So that's SPY, right? So pay attention to SPY because it allows us to track what is happening throughout the general. Think of it as like an average indicator for all of the other stocks, right? Because SPY is the composite of 500 stocks in the market. So if SPY is doing well, then we can get a general sense that the whole market itself is doing well. SPY is going down, we can get a sense that the market is going down too. So, but I think we're in for some range bound action. And we're on target. A few weeks back, I said we might end the year just around 470, and it looks like that prediction is coming true. I did say that if we do have a good pullback, which is probably only see 470 at the highest, and if we kept going higher, then we'll maybe see 480. But at the moment, it looks like only 470 at the end of the year is what I'm predicting. I think that was like 2 weeks back. So that was when we made this high right here. Oh, for a few weeks back. So it's either this high or this high that I made that prediction. But definitely that's what's happening to SPY. So let's take a look at Apple. Apple's just been going on to make new highs. So I'm still waiting to see where this thing actually goes and makes a new support. It's pretty crazy because Apple is one of the biggest stock position in SPY. It's almost 7%. So I'm gonna extend this support line out here because I still think it could come back to 165 to use that as support. We haven't seen it really form any support other than this. Right? We've seen it test once here, so it was used as support once here, resistance, and then support again here. But I don't know for sure how strong this support will be because it's a really tight range here over the course of 4 days. So um, I'm not too sure where this support is gonna go. If this is a strong support or a weak support. If it's a strong support, I would like to see it test multiple times. An example of a strong support, right? Let me go back like 2 years of strong support, right? So strong support is like something like this right here, where we test multiple times. Maybe we go down a little bit, but we come back and we hold it, right? We hold the support. So strong support is something like that. So I don't know if this is a strong support, meaning if price ever comes back to 165, I think it might just break through, right? And break through because I definitely think that 155 is a stronger support. But let's see if it ever comes back there. I could be wrong, and it just might just use or establish a new support somewhere up here, right? Because if that stock keeps going, it definitely will develop a new support and resistance area that it will probably disregard these ones. As you can see here, right? The chart over the course of a year, when a new resistance area is developed, sometimes they use the old resistance as support, but it doesn't always have to. So that's SPY. SPY still No, that's not SPY. That's Apple. Apple's still going. And if we dive down to the hourly, this is the bullish sign that we look for, right? Bullish sign. I talked a little bit about this on Tuesday. We really look for the 50 crossing over the 200 and staying above the 200. That's a bullish sign. So whenever we see price coming below the 50 or right to the 50, that's a sign for us to buy in. So something like here, right? So as it approaches, maybe it's a good chance for you to buy in. And we don't necessarily short until we see price cross under the 50, right? So price cross over under the 50. Let's see if we have something like that. So something like this right here. time like this, right? The 50, this purple line crossing under this 200, this yellow line, and that's when we start picking up shorts. Otherwise, we only stick to long, right? No flip flopping, no getting in shorts, no getting into longs and then shorts. That way, if you do that, you're more likely gonna get hurt. So we only just stick to one until the technicals reverse on us, then go to the other. Right? That's what I'm doing. Definitely don't take that and just run with it. Definitely do your own research, find out what works for you. This is something that's worked for me, and I spend countless hours researching it and studying it. So um, that's what I came up with. But maybe you see something different. So go with, definitely study it. All right, let's take a look at Tesla today. Tesla has been beaten up. So I made two drawings of Tesla. This is one of the drawings, right? Support and resistance. This right here was not a good support. It wasn't, so this is a resistance area. Now I'm thinking that this right here is not that good of a support too. We see it been supporting Tesla, but as it gets closer and closer to the bottom here, I don't think this 1000 level will hold. I definitely think that better support is 900, and we might see that test here because especially today, what has happened today, we've seen a lot of action to the downside again. So this is the first drawing that I drew up, the second drawing. So you can see this pendant shape, it broke down below, a few days ago, came back to test it at resistance, definitely tested at resistance, and then boom, down again. So definitely show that this line right here is resistance right now for the moment. Right? We dive down to the hourly. So this hourly, we're definitely showing this is the support at 1000, resistance at 1100. And you can see we're breaking down. Every time we're testing this 1000 level, we're breaking a little bit further down. So that's to me a sign that this support area is getting weaker. We go to 90 days. So you can see that, right? First time, second time, third, and then maybe this fourth time, maybe we break down even more. We go all the way down to 900. So that could be a good thing for some of you guys, especially if you believe in Tesla and want to buy Tesla. That means a huge buying opportunity is coming, right? Now, where I would like to see Tesla come back to is, this is probably going to be something that takes a bit of time, is that I want to see it come back to 900, and then I want to see if it'll go back and test the 800 level. 800 right now lines up with this 200-day moving average, right? We've seen it once before touch the 200-day moving average this year, and I want to see if that happens. And it might not happen this year, but maybe sometime next year. And what that's going to look like is that 200-day moving average is going to slowly grind up, because eventually if price is going to meet the 200-day moving average, the 200-day moving average is going to grind up throughout the next few days or next few months that we are the market is live. Average always goes towards where price is, right? So it's going to go up, it's going to creep up, and maybe if anything, right, we extend this to March. Maybe in March we meet it at in the low 800s, or if price keeps dropping, maybe we meet it down in uh the just 800, high 700 maybe. But that's our prediction. At the moment, I think Tesla is probably gonna head down to 900. Uh, we might we might see it before the end of the year. We only have like maybe 3 weeks left to the year, so it's very possible we see 900 before the end of the year. So that's Tesla. Tesla is heading down. And it goes back to my pattern that I was showing you guys before with SPY. The 50 moving average is below the 200. So every time that is, we always want to look for a good short position. We don't want to try to play it, on the rebound for longs. We just want to play. So here would have been a good time to get a short position, and you swing it down low, take your profit, and if it bounces back up, you just see if the position or the pattern continues to hold. If it does and it gets to the top again, you see it come back down, take a chance, and maybe it comes back down, right? So in the market, we don't know for sure what's going to happen. It's just a number of possibilities that could happen, and you taking a chance on one or two of them. That's all we can do. All right, that's Tesla. Amazon. Let's look at Amazon. Now, Amazon, I did a glimpse at it this morning, and it seems to be doing well. Right on the daily, it's still playing with this range right here. Range. I'll do this out for a whole year, so it's still playing, flirting with it. I think I'm not certain if it wants to break out or if it wants to stay in this range, but uh, the the technicals are the technicals are pointing to the upside. So whenever I see technicals like this, I'm more inclined to just pick long positions, take long positions. It's holding itself up above here, this support, this resistance level, right? And I'm waiting to see if it can use it as a support. Right? If it could use it as a new support, we could probably see it go all the way up to 4,000. Right, all the way up to 4,000. The highest we've seen it move was 37, almost 3,800. Right, it almost test that again, and so you can see it's slowly making its way upward. Um, so I definitely do see that on the hourly. We see on the hourly, it's been flip flopping, right? Meaning there hasn't been a true sign to go one way or the other. You could see this right over the course of 90 days. You can see it's just going up and down, up and down. So when something like this, a stock like this, it's very hard to day trade, right? Because if when you day trade, you want to have a really good pattern because it keeps flip flopping like this, then you're gonna get whiplash one way or the other, right? But on the daily, you can see this is a good stock to swing. If you can swing trade this, this is a great stock to swing trade, right? You see a lot of good entry, a lot of good exits. Right? We zoom out to 2 years. So you see this, right? Technicals are showing you that it's trending up, right? So every time it goes below here, right? The 200 seems to be the where you want to put on a position. Every time you get to 200, if you would have put on a position, you swing it up to the upside, right? Here, a little bit here, right? Here, 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 right? If you were to just pick it like that, you get some good swing opportunity. All right. So that's Amazon. Now let's take a look at Facebook too. Facebook has been interesting, right? I don't yet see any any pattern that is really forming, but what really has me concerned about Facebook is that on the daily, the 50 is getting closer to 200 and it might even cross down below. And Facebook is a pretty good stock. So when I see Facebook like this, it actually gets me pretty excited because I don't, not because I can't, um, not because, in the short term, it's gonna go up or anything, but this gets me excited because I can add on to my long portfolio because if it continues going down, one area for sure that I'm going to pay attention to is see if it'll come back to this 50 moving average on the monthly, so around 240, or if this trend continues to trend up, I maybe catch it at 260 or maybe 280. Right. So definitely something that's pretty interesting. But at the moment, we haven't seen that cross yet, so this is still just something that is for the future, just a planning for the future. Because this for sure, maybe it could break, it could continue going up higher. But at the moment, you see it keeps making these lower lows here on the daily. Um, so that's definitely something to pay attention to. And it looks like it's using this 50-day moving average as a resistance at the moment. So right here, and if we think that it's gonna cross below, this could be a good shorting opportunity. Right here, good shorting opportunity. Today's candle is not a good candle. It's not a bullish candle at all. To me, even though it's green, it definitely looks really bearish. A lot of sell off as I approach the 50. So maybe it could go lower. Maybe we see it come back and test down at the 300 level. Maybe it'll even break it. But breaking it is not the end of the world, especially if you don't have a position in a Facebook yet. Maybe wait for it to see how low it can go. Because the lower it can go, especially a stock like Facebook, pretty really good stock, especially if you believe in the metaverse and everything. You can definitely pick it up way cheaper at 280, 260, wherever it wants to go. Just be a little bit patient with it and see. Definitely next year, we could probably see it around those prices. Maybe mid-year next year, uh, May, June, before we start seeing it, maybe recovering towards the end of the year. So that's my prediction for it. I was definitely hoping that it will break out and continue at this pattern right here. Right, we can see it trending up, but it got shooken out. So at the moment, what it could look like, right? So this was a trending up, right? Trending up move, and this could be happening right here, where it's sort of, if it wants to break below the 50 or not, we're still not sure, and the 200. But we have definitely seen the price gone below the 200. So this might not be the case anymore. I think it might be something more similar to this right here. We go back even further, right? 5 years, right? Something similar to this or this, something like that. So definitely pay attention to this for Facebook, because it looks like it's starting to do a downtrend. So if you see a downtrending, if you see something that's starting to downtrend like this, maybe we could take a bet and set a stop somewhere up here, right? Over 340. Take a short position, maybe catch it down. But I wouldn't necessarily open a position in Facebook just yet. I'll probably just pay attention to it and see what it wants to do. So let's see. So you see a gap in on Amazon. Where exactly is the gap you are seeing? The gap could fill, or maybe it's already filled. So you talking about this gap right here? Because if you are, this gap is already filled. So this is a gap to the downside, and you can see this. It was this right here already filled this gap. 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart in December. Which so you're this little gap right here? Is that what you're referring to? So that this little gap, maybe it could fill. Uh, but let's see where it goes. It doesn't look. It looks like this today's on the hourly. Right, definitely the price is above the 250, but it's looking pretty weak. So maybe it could fill this gap again, right? This gap fill and then head to the downside. That could be the case. But there really isn't a trend. So it's just basically just whiplashing back and forth. Let me go back 90 days. Yeah, there really isn't any good of a trend on the hourly. Right? So you see a lot of whiplashing back and forth. Usually, when you see a trend, you see it going one way for a long time, but you only see this for like a few days. So maybe it could be a continuation down to the downside. And right here was just hoping to break this downtrend right here. So this could be a continuation. So yeah, that gap right here, maybe it could get filled and it could go back down lower. Go back and test these lows at what is that, 333.50? Yeah, that's what it looks like. So definitely worth paying attention to. Yep, that is the hourly. The daily, I still think that the daily might trend up, but it could trend up very, very slowly. You see how slow, we can definitely see how slow Amazon has been going compared to how it's been before. There hasn't been a real trend to the upside. You see, it's just been range bound inside of this, and it's reflective in the hourly too. The hourly, we just see it, whipping back, whipping above the 50 and the 200, whipping below the 50 and the 200. So definitely could probably be doing that. But one thing is that both of the moving averages are slowly increasing and price is slowly increasing with it. So if you do get into a long position, maybe don't get into it too long. Definitely do pay attention to where it is. Um, right. We definitely on the weekly and the yearly or the monthly, I definitely could see a breakout happening. All right. Let's take a look. Let's see what other stock we can look at. All right, let's look at SoFi. SoFi went back down below this support, and just like how I mentioned it on Tuesday, we could probably see it down below here for a while because we've seen it before, right? It came test the lows here, but every time it does go lower, maybe it's a good time to add a position because if we think that this is going to happen again, the same pattern where it stays below here for a while and then it has a huge pop up, right? Maybe you start building a position anticipating another pop up like this because we've seen it once, twice, three times, right? Maybe we gotta start doing that, and it's definitely gonna be a longer trade. It's not gonna be anything that's gonna be overnight. It's gonna be something months in the building. You see this right here. This is about 3-4 months, and then this was 3 or 4 months, and then led to a pop that lasted about a month and a half, and this pop was a month and a half. So maybe a 3-4 months period where it just stays down here before maybe we get another pop up, right? So if that's the case, we probably won't get another pop up until maybe May, June of next year, right? So in this area out here in this time, so we have a while could be good to get a starter position, and every month or so, maybe add a little bit to it from your winnings. Right, you do shorter term trades, but then you add a little bit. You maybe add $100 or so to this position, and eventually, it just when it does explode, you have a position ready in place, and you just eat. Right, you just eat some gains on that side. All right, let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia definitely has been going down. And this range, let's see if this range holds. So around the 295 to 320. Do you have any tips for day traders? You're new to this. Uh, well, my only tip to you is good luck because to me, day trading is actually more difficult because day trading you really do need have to have a grasp of risk management, a really good grasp of risk management, trend of the market, areas that you need to look at, and it's basically everything that you will do in a swing trade, but in the timing of a few minutes, right? So you have to be able to do everything that you could do that you must do to be successful in a day in a swing trade, and you basically collapse that down into the span of a few minutes. So if you are struggling with swing trading, I think you might struggle a little bit more with day trading. Um, a lot of people think it's easier because they have the wrong idea of hey, it allows me to just go in and out and in and out. Well, that works well when in this type of market where there's a lot of volatility to one side or the other, where we see big candles to the downside or to the upside, right? So there's no real direction. It's just whipping back and forth in the range. But when we do see something like this, right, going back to like when things are trending where they slowly grind up, then day trading isn't that easy, right? So there's different conditions where each each style really shines, and it's your responsibility as a trader to just know what condition the market is currently in, so you can shine. So there isn't one isn't better than the other. A lot of people get this misconception that hey, swing trader is betting better or day trading is better. No, both of them have their own scenario because in situations like this where market conditions are really volatile, meaning you have huge swing to the upside, huge swings to the downside, all within a short amount of time, day trading will probably be better because you're seeing a move that's a few dollars one way or the other throughout a day. But when we get to times where it's trending time and you see it just slowly grinding up, right? Grinding up over the course of a few days, few weeks, then day traders really struggle because fighting the market for like 50 cents or a dollar. So it really depends. And my only advice to you is just to know the difference between when to use one versus the other. Don't just be stuck in one way because you're probably gonna end up hurting yourself and your portfolio, right? So looking at Nvidia, I think it's gonna be bouncing between the two ranges here. We dive down to the hourly. Right? Definitely see it in this range. You see it whiplashing, right? Whiplashing the 50 and the 200 are doing the same thing as the other stocks that we were looking at. They're just going above and below one another. If we think that this could be a support area, we might want to hold off on getting shorts because this might hold. Right? The support might hold, and as we approach it tomorrow, maybe we could see a bounce back on Monday, right? So we go a little bit lower. Maybe we do something like this, right? Where we go lower. Maybe on Monday we see it pop up, or Monday, Tuesday next week pops up. NVIDIA. And so let's see. So this time of year, it seems like a lot of small caps has been getting beaten up. And if you're in the mindset of a long-term trader, beating up stocks is probably a good thing because you're building a position at the lows and anticipating that it's gonna go up eventually over time. So this is ping, right? It's at support. This has been a support throughout the year, so I think it's a pretty strong support. You could build a position here. You can see here a lot of support. End of 2021, 2000, end of 2020 to 2021. It's been holding, so that's a good sign. There hasn't been a long-term trend established yet, right? So I think it's going to be range bound like this for a while before we catch enough momentum to go to the upside. So we have every time it comes back down to 22 would probably be a good time to add. And if we anticipate a move to the upside, maybe next time to 40, right? 22 to 40. So almost 100% there. That's a gain of almost 100%. Something that you do, right? Every few months, you watch, see if you can get as close to 22 as possible. As you can see here, this is over the course of or like 8 months or so. Six to 8 months in this period of time. Then we have a little pop-up here. We want to see if we can pop up this high again, right? Takes it off. Nice, cheap little stock. So you want to get a good establish of how low is low, right? And how high is high. I know people talk about buying low and selling high. What is the probability that a stock will fill the gap? It really depends. Um, it some stocks it could take months for the gap to fill. Some stocks may never fill the gaps. So you really have to be able to look at a stock and know the characteristics of it, and that usually takes a lot of time with that stock, right? Because the traders who trades mega techs are not the same traders who trade small caps, and they're also not the same traders who trades mid caps. So depending on what kind of stock you are trading determines if that gap is going to fill. And so you really want to know those stocks because something like Amazon. Going back to the Amazon uh, example of the gap, right? You can see on the daily there was a gap here, and you can see how long it took for that gap to fill. Right, that gap happened all the way in August, but and so it usually does fill. A gap like that does fill, but if it's a gap to the upside, right? If it's a gap to the downside, we probably may never see it filled. So let's see if we can find another. Right, looking back in 10 years, because I know. So something like this, right? A gap here, right? This was a gap to the upside, right? Well, this did fill, but it took a long time. So you see here, November. Sometimes the gap to the downside did fill, gap to the upside here, well, it did fill here. So it does look like it does fill, but it takes a long time. So you see gaps here, gaps here, gaps here. So this is an example where the gaps to the upside don't fill, and it really depends, right? What would be the confirmation for you to enter? That really depends on you because I don't know how you're gonna plan on trading it. And so you really, if you are planning to trade that gap, it could be up to you. Maybe you could get into a position right now instead of stop somewhere up here. But that's all up on you, right? Or maybe you can see it break into this gap before you get it. So multiple ways that you could do it. And it's really up to you and how much risk you want to take on before you get in. Right? So you really have to do your research to know if that gap will fill. Um, Different stock have different characteristics. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at space. Space has been on a crazy ride. I don't know how many people follow space, but I think it's a crazy little stock that I definitely has seen a lot of explosions, and definitely I think that if you think that this type of move can happen again because it happened twice or a few times before, I think this is a good time to add to a position. Right, you get into a position here, get to a position here, down here, down here, down here, right? For these explosions. Because down here was 16, it exploded all the way up to almost 60. From here, we're here, right? Same thing, all the way up to 60 again. Maybe it could go to the 60s by March, April, or it can linger down here for a while. Maybe we see it May, June, July next year. So this type of trading, you still want to set a stop somewhere below here, right? So maybe set a stop like 13 or 12. Maybe you catch it to the upside. Swing it to the upside. This is explosion material. So it's a risk defined trade. You wanna always do that. Look at NIO. Now NIO is doing something interesting because it broke below this pattern right here. And I think it's going to start using this as resistance. So 35 as resistance. Right? We dive down to the hourly and we see it forming this. Right. So I keep talking about this 50 below the 200. Every time the 50 is below the 200, we look for short opportunities. I think tomorrow could still be a good shorting opportunity for an NIO. Looks like it's starting again to the downside. Maybe it breaks down below 30 this time. It's starting. And you can see it clearly bouncing off of this right here. This was 35 support that broke through, right? Support that broke through, and then it came back, tested resistance, maybe it goes down even lower. So that's one way. And it shows up on the daily, shows up on the hourly for you to play. But if you are thinking long term, I don't think NIO might not be dead yet. You could probably see it bounce somewhere down here, 25 level. Let's see. All right, so you're saying if the bigger time frame is showing uptrend, but the smaller time frame is showing downtrend, if I'm planning on day trading, would I be safer for me to look for a stock that has that are having the same trend direction, multiple time frame instead? That's really up to you. So the longer time frame, you gotta think of it like this, right? I don't know how low you're going. If you're going into the 5 minutes or 15, 30, or you're just going into the hourly like me. So you gotta break it down into, if you're looking at the hourly, the daily, and you're day trading, the daily is probably not gonna pay too much of a role. It's gonna give you it's really gonna it's really gonna just give you, a sense of what areas you need to really pay attention to when price goes into it, or when price are at those levels, right? So an example is this 35 level right here, right? If you are trading like how you say you are with the 3 and 5 minutes, right? Let's dive down all the way to the 5 minute, right? Right. So you see how the trend here, this is an uptrend in the 5 minute, but we're being met with some resistance at this 35 level, right? So the daily, all it's showing you is an area where you need to pay attention to, where your long positions, if you got into a long position, could be at risk of reversing, right? That's all it's telling you. So as a day trader, when you look at the daily or any higher time frames, they're just areas for you to pay attention to, where the price could reverse, especially if you're going against the trend on the higher time frame, right? So on a higher time frame, we see that 35 is resistance, right? So grabbing a short here, you can definitely trade that for, you know, this right here. It doesn't mean you only have to go in the direction of the trend. It's just, going in the direction of the trend is the safest. But that trend, if it's on a higher time frame, may be so far removed from what you're seeing on your lower time frame that it won't make any sense. It's just areas where you should pay attention to, where price could, go one way or the other. And you see it here with NIO as an example. As price, this was a trade that you probably wanted to get like calls or maybe a long position in, and then as opposed to the 35 was when you probably wanted to get out, and you know bouncing off the 35 here was probably where you wanted to get a short position. That's all you really paying attention to, because in the shorter time frame, some of these areas are just areas where you need to pay attention to, but most of the time they might not show on those lower time frames. If you're doing the 3 minute, 5 minute, that's really, really fast. Most of the time, if it's too far down, too far up, you're probably not gonna see these areas too. So because it takes like how many 5 minute candles or how many 3 minute candles in to make a day. A day is about 7.5 hours. And it takes quite a bit. So you probably get a few hundred candles in a day. So yeah, so they're just areas to pay attention to. It might take multiple days to even reach them, and when it is multiple days, you might not see those areas, but it could be something. Uh, Especially if it's really close, right? Like today for NIO, something that was really close here. Because we go back a few days, right? You probably don't even see it, or we saw it here, but if you go back even further, right, you probably didn't see it. But it's good to look at them and know those areas ahead of time. Just don't trade based off it, because if you see like you see here and you see it going down, then the wrong thinking will be, hey, I see a downtrend on NIO on the daily because price has been dropping. So every trade that off the 50 is just going to be a short-term trade, because then you miss out on these long-term trades and then these short-term reversals. But I really don't day trade. So that's just what I see. So you might do something different. So definitely talk to somebody who has more experience day trading, they could probably help you out more, and they also could probably give you more things to pay attention to on the daily. Because if you're day trading, a lot of it's very the news impacts price very heavily. So you might want to also pay attention to what news events are happening in the horizon or coming up, right? Because you don't want to trade it when you don't want to enter a long trade when maybe we're going to like Fed meeting, because maybe those trade will get killed. Maybe you want to wait until after the meeting or before the meeting, right? And don't trade during the meeting, right? Things like that. Or if you know jobless report are coming out, or unemployment reports coming out, or maybe even earnings is coming out, you might want to hold off on trading that stock. So, but I don't really day trade, so I don't know what to really pay attention to, because there's a lot more at play than just technicals when you're day trading, because things like news can really impact you. Just really pay attention to that. But for sure, talk to the guys in the Discord. Those guys, they do a lot of day trading. I really don't day trade. I try not to because I'm not really good at it. So really talk to them. And if you have a niche for it and you think that it's something that you could be successful at, talk to the guys in there. They a lot. There's a lot of experienced guys, you that can really help you out, and they'll probably be open to sharing some stuff with you. So hopefully that helps you out. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm more of a long-term trader, so a lot of what I say, yes, you could pay attention to it, but and it could give you some clue of areas that you really could pay attention to, but it's not gonna really help you out, because it might be too far removed from what you're supposed to be paying attention to as a day trader. So yeah, but yeah, take advantage of the resources that we have, like the Discord group and everything, and they can definitely help you out. We are on A lot of them are on voice, so here I have up is our Discord channel. So trading floor, the trading floor is where we do a lot of talking, share news and whatnot. There's a lot of channels over here like hot news, stock lists, flows, alerts, right? Golden sweep. But throughout the day, we're probably going to be in this trading chat. I shared it in I shared it in on the description for this video. So go back to the description. It's probably on there. If not, reach out to me directly and I can give you an invite code to it. Um, and hopefully stop by. Stop by tomorrow for sure. Come in there, chat with us. We're not shy. So um definitely come talk to us. But yeah, hit me up. And with that, I'm gonna end the session here. Hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. As I mentioned before, I'm not a day trader, so it's probably not too helpful for people who want to be day traders. But if you are a beginner trader who wants something that's less stressful than day trading, and you want something that you don't have to babysit too much, um, definitely I hope that this is helping you out, and even just learning how to analyze the daily, weekly, monthly, or the overall trend of a stock, and even how to get into long positions. So with that, I'll end it here. Hopefully you guys are having a great week. We only have one more day left to trade, so stay safe, and Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a good night.